This is a how-to video on installing the SwedeTech designed EZ clip. SwedeTech offers two variations. There's the sprint style, which is a little smaller than our road race style. Our road race style is 2 millimeters longer and always requires the use of a 2 millimeter spacer behind the sprocket. So here's our road race style. On the video it's probably very difficult to tell the difference, but the road race one does require the use of the washer behind the sprocket. So once the road race clip is installed, the washer has to go on first and then the sprocket. So that's for the road race version. Tonight I'm installing the sprint version. So what tools you will need is pretty simple. One 5mm Allen wrench and also a 5mm Allen wrench on an impact gun would be helpful. So the kit, it includes one bolt, one retainer, two clips, and then the road race includes the additional washer. So we'll just use a little dab of blue Loctite. Don't get carried away with it. And you're going to thread that into the counter shaft. Now we have seen on some of the older engines, not a true 99 or newer, but some of the older 95, 96 transmissions, the taper inside the counter shaft from Honda is slightly different, so this product may not work for that particular year. So what you'll want to do is gently snug the Allen bolt to the retainer, and the goal here is you're going to rotate this a number of times because you're going to try to find the center. You have three different angles that got to match up, and you want this clip to spin as concentric as possible. So we're just going to lightly spin the retainer, lightly snug the bolt, and then you're going to give it a check. And as you can see here, there's a little bit of run out. So we're just going to keep trying. And the idea is to get the retainer to run as true as possible. And that looks pretty good. Now the next step, grab a rag and a sprocket. And you'll put the sprocket on. The rag is to protect your hand. And if you have a battery powered impact, you're going to impact the bolt on. So that's going to be nice and secure. You want that hammer action because once this is installed, this bolt and this retainer, they do not come off. In order to remove the sprocket, you only need to remove the EZ clip. And the EZ clip, you'll notice it is beveled. And I'm going to try to show it the best I can on the video. I'm actually going to install it wrong the first time so you can see. If you install the clip wrong, the tips or the outside part of the clip is going to be away from the sprocket. I did it on purpose to show you why we send you two of them. So what you want to do is install this clip. Again, this is the wrong direction. And you will see right there, there's a gap. And as we rotate this around, the opening is a gap. You don't want that gap. You want this to be preloaded. You also notice the sprocket is a little sloppy. You need tension on the sprocket because there's an O-ring on the back side. And if there's no tension on that O-ring, what happens is you're going to leak transmission oil out. So we're going to take this off. And then we're going to install it the proper way. So again, the proper way is, if you can imagine, a center of the clip is going to be bowed outwards. So when you install it, it's going to spring load the gear. So now that's on, you want to double check that everything's nice and firm. And if you notice, look how much more tight that sprocket is. There's no gimmicks here. It's really spring loaded. So now you know that sprocket is seated against the little spacer on the counter shaft, and the O-ring that's inside is nice and seated. Once the engine's installed on a go-kart, we actually offer a tool. I didn't use it today because it's a little awkward when the engine's not installed. But the tool, it actually has a little radiused edge that goes against the clip, and we also have an incorporated hook. And the hook